All right. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for this drug disposal webinar. My name is Tammy Sander, and I do communications for the Hamilton County Health Department. I'm joined tonight by a host of experts from the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, as well as Journey Counseling. Tonight's webinar is the fourth in a series of monthly webinars geared toward children's health. We're hosting an array of topics from the importance of lead testing to CPR for children and teen dating violence to tips for finding out whether or not your child is vaping. These webinars are part of a larger effort to reach out to parents and caregivers and educators so they can make more informed decisions about their young charges. We'll feature a full list of those webinars, their dates and times at the end of this session. But let me start first by introducing tonight's panel. Monica Greer is the Executive Director of the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. She has more than 30 years experience in substance use disorder prevention, intervention, and treatment strategies. Captain Mark Bowen may be familiar to you. He served 2 terms as Hamilton County Sheriff, and he is now charged with overseeing security at the Government and Judicial Center. And he has long been a good driving force behind the county's drug take-back events for many years. And Holly Holman is the owner of Journey Counseling, a mental health and wellness practice here in Noblesville. She has spent 15 years working with families, adolescents, women, and people experiencing trauma. Tonight, we're going to cover the full gamut of topics related to the proper drug disposal, starting with the most commonly misused prescription drugs and how their misuse can lead to substance use disorders. We'll move on to the best ways to keep your medications out of the wrong hands, namely curious kids, teens, and house guests. And finally, we'll offer some tips on properly disposing of your prescription medications, everything from drug take-back programs to ways to safely discard those medications in your home. We'll also be taking your questions, so if you have a question at some point, please just throw it into the chat box. We'll take a look at those and try to answer as many as we can. Holly, I'm going to toss it over to you first. You're going to kind of get us started with a look at some of the most commonly misused prescriptions in our homes and why it's so very important to get rid of them as soon as we no longer need them.
Thanks so much, Tammy. One of the things that a lot of us have in our homes are anti-anxiety or sleep medications, which is under the category of depressants. Those can be anywhere from Xanax or Ativan to some of the sleeping medications can be Ambien, Trazodone, things like that. Stimulants, Adderall, Ritalin, ADHD medication is a lot of what we are thinking when we're thinking about stimulants. One of the things.
And I was going to ask, Holly, what is the interest in a depressant or a stimulant? What does it do for the body? Why do people want to take it?
Misuse of depressants can help you feel less anxious, less on edge, just more relaxed is what a lot of times people will report. They are, when they're prescribed appropriately, they are used for panic attacks, helping with those really acute feelings of not being able to calm yourself down. If you're not experiencing those, they can be used to relax. Stimulants are something that when you're not using it to focus or treat the symptoms appropriately, a lot of kids will use that to feel more focused or just feel a little bit speedier, I guess is one of the words that we use. So they really like those. A lot of times people, as they continue to use drugs, they will mix those two. And then that gets real dangerous. So you might take depressants in the evening and then maybe a stimulant in the morning. The other thing that we hear a lot about that we've talked about for several years now are opioids, and these are pain medications. Oxycodone, hydrocodone, codeine, which we can find in some cold medicines, morphine, and tramadol is kind of the lower end on opioids. It contains the least amount of opioids, but it is still harmful and can be addictive. It's important to really talk about opioids as we have been, because 75% of drug overdoses are linked to those. And the vast majority of prescription drug misuse are of opioids. And the scariest thing that's happened in the last year or so is that the counterfeit pills that are supposed to be prescription opioids often contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. We have this slide to show you just how little fentanyl is needed to cause an overdose. 79.5 million fentanyl-laced fake pills and nearly 12,000 pounds of fentanyl powder have been seized. 7 out of every 10 pills seized by the DEA contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. One of the things to safeguard in your home for children is that they just have natural curiosity. They're looking through cabinets, they're climbing up on the back of the toilet seat and looking at those higher places where we tend to store stuff, thinking that it's out of their reach. There's a lot of social media people around them that they might start imitating. If they see you always take your medicine at 5, or grandma always takes her medicine at 7 to get the day, it's normal for kids to imitate that behavior. Improper storage, access again, lack of supervision. My mom always laughed, like, if the house is quiet, then we're probably getting into some trouble. And there's a lot of lookalikes right now. Each year in the United States, accidental ingestion of medication in children under 6 result in emergency room visits, more than probably we even thought. And even more than that, there's 450,000 calls to poison centers. As they get older in adolescence, we see their curiosity change and their reasons behind using change. Sometimes it can be for stress, especially those stimulants. Tests are coming up. They need an all-nighter. They tend to turn to Ritalin or Adderall in those situations. Peer pressure, it's more normalized to obtain, get, use drugs and alcohol at school. It's really easy for them to distribute medication that they bring from home to school. Workplace exposures, as our teenagers come into the workplace, they're exposed to older people, maybe different cultures than they're at home for the first time. Lack of supervision, same. They're curious, they're looking through our belongings. Friends come over and we get even braver. And then sometimes drugs can be used for self-harm, suicide attempts, self-sabotage, things like that. I wanted to include this slide because I think when we talk about children in general, we like to use pretty big statistics that are nationwide, but I think it's important to see that Indiana teens are pretty at risk, even more so than the population. 13 to 17-year-olds, 2.11% more likely to have used drugs in the last month than the average teen. And in the 18 to 25 category, it's 7.62% more likely. So, you know, our kiddos are at risk. One of the questions that I get a lot from parents are, how do they even get it? Like, this can't be happening to my kid because they don't have access. The truth is that the majority of the access is at home. So really looking through your pill containers and bringing those to school. We know that when you are 18 and older, 20 or 21 and younger is what I mean, you rely on a lot of networking and people around you to obtain drugs and alcohol. And so we take these from the home, we bring them to school, we use all of our social dependence networking to make those available to others or get them from others. The internet is really a scary place that has no end of how you can obtain these substances as well. You can go through the dark web and have them delivered straight to your house, or you can go through some other avenues where you order something online, you get it delivered to a friend, you go pick up from the friend. the normalization of marijuana in all the counties around us have really expanded that area the most. And then social media is always something that they have access to, that they really use to obtain it. So as you have teenagers or kiddos that have phones, which start at maybe 10, 11, 12 now, there are specific things that you can look for. Specifically on the phone, there's apps, texts, and contacts. One of the things that we have up here is the newest one. This is called Telegram, and that is very revealing. Kiddos are using Instagram and also Snapchat. Snapchat is one of the more difficult ones to kind of monitor because the messages disappear just as soon as you read them. One thing to notice in your kiddo's phone, if it autocorrects to include the word weed or THC, that means that they're using that phone a lot to text about it and get it. And always go through all their contacts. It's important that you know who's in their phone. Please look in their rooms and their cars. That's really the only place that teenagers have access to store all their favorite things. So I think later in this presentation, we're going to kind of give you an idea of where to look in the room. But cars have a little less places to safely store them, I guess. So it might be easier to find it in the car. The other thing that we really want to make sure is that we lock up the liquor cabinet. And another step for that, though, is to make sure that you watch the levels of the bottles. So just because you lock something up doesn't mean that it's always the safest. And so keeping an eye on that level, and then every once in a while checking it just to make sure that water wasn't added, to make sure that level stays the same, but there's less alcohol in the bottle. And of course, then we're talking about the medicine cabinets. Lock up your medicines, and also make sure that you regularly check the number of pills in the bottles. Especially at Grandma and Grandpa's house, they put something, they forget about it. You know, we don't use the opioids or pain medication when we got our tooth pulled. And then 6 months later we go because we need it, and there's only 2 when there should be 15. So that's a long time for someone to be taking those out and not getting caught. And so it's really helpful to check those on a regular basis. Tammy was wonderful enough to put this together for us so that we could know some of the slang. Over here on the left, oxycodone has a lot of different nicknames. So I'll let you kind of look at some of those. Morphine also has a lot of nicknames as well. On the right-hand side, there's some nicknames for fentanyl and for heroin. So you might see those in the text for slang. And so you have an idea of what those would look like. In the middle, she found some information on emojis that they're using in order to refer to something. So pain medications with Percocet and oxycodone are there at the top. Xanax are there in the middle. And Adderall is the last one. We are going to play this video about where teenagers might be hiding things in their bedrooms.
Okay, so we'll get started with the bedroom setup. Again, just to go over things that may be in a bedroom that could be used for drug use or to hide potential drug use, okay? So again, things that are in a bedroom, okay? Something as simple as tennis balls, which definitely would not be out of place. All you need is a razor blade. Just give it a little slit, and now there's a nice little storage container. Whether this is kept in the bedroom or in the garage with all the other athletic equipment. Things that are readily available on the internet. Okay, just looks like a little ceramic dinosaur, but this is actually a pipe for smoking. You turn it upside down, you have the little bowl where you put the marijuana and then inhale through the tail. I also have another one here, a little glass scorpion. Okay, again, you put the marijuana in the top and inhale through the back. Very elaborate types of pipes that can be purchased on the internet. If you see things in a bedroom that you're not familiar with, pick it up and look at it. Okay, this item, plastic, 2 pieces, has all little spikes throughout. It's a grinder. So if somebody has chunks of marijuana that are too big to roll, just put it in there, close it and twist. It grinds it down into manageable little pieces. Something like this stereo speaker, which a lot of people have in their bedrooms. You just pop the cover off, okay, and inside we have 2 packets of synthetic marijuana, okay, commonly referred to as K2 or spice. But again, very convenient hiding spot. This just pops up right on and right off. Things that you can purchase online or places like Spencer Gifts look like legitimate products, but in this case, the shaving cream, the bottom twists off, or the Coke can, the top twists off. Okay, very convenient to hide things in there. Again, you stick this under their bathroom sink. Why would you think twice to look at it differently? Something as simple as a baseball cap, right? How many of our kids have baseball caps? The one thing pretty much all baseball caps have is this sweatband on the inside. You fold it down, and here we have a single packet of heroin. Fits very conveniently behind the sweatband. Okay, you can put pills back there, little baggies of marijuana. There are even hats that can be purchased online that have hidden pockets. And then something that we wouldn't look twice at, novels, books. All those, again, somebody needs is a razor blade. Open up to the middle section and cut out the middle section of some pages, makes a nice little pocket. Here we have some packets of heroin. We have some rolling papers, straw for snorting. Okay, and when it's closed, there's no indication that there's anything stuck inside. Okay, so if someone's not aware, this is a great hiding spot. Something pretty obvious. Okay, a glass marijuana pipe, again, can be purchased online, no age restriction. Somebody might not just leave it lying out on the bureau like that, but it could be hidden away in a closet. And again, if the kids know the parents aren't coming into the bedroom to look around, they may leave it up in the closet for easy access. Again, a couple.
I think that's pretty telling stuff, actually, taking a look at that. And you've got some other examples that you wanted to share with us tonight, too, I know.
Yeah, Monica had given us an idea of things that you can buy off of Amazon. And you could really just search your whole house. I mean, you just start looking at your house in a whole different way. And it can be very difficult to find things.
I love the advertising there underneath the Barbasol. Your secret's safe with us. It's clear they know who's purchasing these products. And the Sharpies that I have seen actually do write.
Yeah, so every once in a while, if you want to make sure that they know you're going to be looking, it might be impossible to always find it, but we should make it as hard as possible to have it at the house.
So Monica and Mark, I'm going to pull you in here because I know that I'm guilty of holding on to unused prescription drugs. I mean, they're expensive. It's hard after you're done with them to even just think about throwing them away, or you think maybe I could use them again. But this is an interesting map that the health department has put together. Monica, do you want to explain to us what we're looking at here and how that ties into this whole discussion tonight?
Sure. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate you putting this together for us. Like you said, people don't know what's going on. That doesn't mean that it's not going on. We were very fortunate, a team of us, to go to New York about 5 years ago, and we learned of the overdose mapping system. And it's real-time information. We have all of our cities in Hamilton County that participate in it. We have our fire departments, our police departments, our health department, our coroner's office. So collaboration is key, and I'm very proud of the collaboration efforts that we have. This is just a sample of the overdose mapping. that shows you for last year from January through December, we had 721 overdoses, suspected overdoses. We had 31 fatalities, overdose, and naloxone was administered 112 times. And I think that naloxone is underscored. I'm sure that we've administered more than that. It's just that's what was reported in some of the reports. But the map in the middle gives you a snapshot of Hamilton County of where the overdoses have happened, what type of overdose, if it was fatal, if it was non-fatal, if Narcan or naloxone was administered. And then there's some details on the side there underneath the chart, just describing where the data comes from and how long it takes to get toxicology reports. But this is a great tool for us. Obviously, it's not a end-all be-all report, but it helps us gauge what's going on in the communities. We might have 4 overdoses in Carmel, and we get details on what they overdosed on. So it gives us information on what drugs are in our community. How did these, it might be young kids, it might be 15, 16, 17-year-olds, it might be 50-year-olds, and it makes you question, where did they get these? Is it the first time they've used them? As Holly mentioned, a lot of the drugs now are laced with fentanyl, and people don't even know what they're getting. They are purchasing off the internet. They are purchasing from people they don't know. They're using that app that Holly mentioned, and it's just very scary, and it's very sad because it's anybody that you and I would know. It's not, the people in a dark alley anymore. It's anybody. And a kid might be trying to study for a test, and he buys some pills off the internet thinking that it's Adderall or something similar to that, and it's laced with something, and they die the first time they try it. So it's just very scary. We're just really trying to get a handle on it, and this is a good tool. We can break it down to cities. So Jim Ginder with the health department manages this report for us, and he can do specific cities like Noblesville, Carmel, Westfield, Fishers, and give you a month map. He can do a quarter. It's just very, very interesting and helps us kind of map out, like I said, what's going on in the community.
Monica, quick question. You mentioned Narcan. We see that there were 112 doses administered. That is specifically meant to address opioid overdoses, correct?
Opioids, it can help other, and I do want to say there's a big misconception of naloxone or Narcan that it might be harmful to somebody, and so they might be nervous to try and use it. It's not going to hurt the person. If you use the Narcan or naloxone on them, it's not going to hurt them. But yes, it's specifically for opioid overdoses. But sometimes, or a lot of times, people don't know why that person collapsed. So why not try it? So obviously call 911 first. It might be in a bathroom. It might be in a parking lot. You yourself might witness something going on and you don't know what's happening, so call 911. If you've been trained in Narcan, administer the Narcan before the emergency personnel get there, or go into the establishment and ask if they have Narcan available or someone that's trained. It's our everyday thing now. You may not have witnessed it, but there's a chance that you might. So I would encourage you to get trained on it. It's free. The health departments provide the training. They give you 2 Narcan doses after the training. Very simple. It's a nasal injection, and I encourage you or anybody to get trained on it.
And I will say that your organization has done a phenomenal job of making sure that a lot of businesses in Hamilton County are trained and actually have Narcan on site. So like she said, if you suspect that might be happening, it is always worth going in and asking an agency or a business if they have Narcan on the premises.
Yes.
So, okay, we've got these extra prescription meds in the house. It used to be that we flushed them down the toilet, but you all are saying, no, don't do that anymore. Why?
Yeah, it's dangerous to our community, our water system. We know that there are safer ways to get rid of it, and we have a lot of partnerships within our community that help us do that easily. So Mark is here with the Sheriff's Department. He helps me do take back events, and so you can go to different establishments. We've got those here on the list coming up, but yeah, it's just not safe to flush them. And yeah, this slide helps explain that if it can leak into the groundwater. It's just not the optimal thing to do. Tammy did see that some medications do instruct you to flush them. So if they're super dangerous and you really need to get them out of the house immediately, then that might be the case. But I would just encourage you to find a site, and we've got some slides that'll help you do that.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we actually have a big day coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, Mark, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Saturday is a National DEA Drug Take Back Day, and so all across the country, folks will be participating in the National Drug Take Back Day, including here in Hamilton County. That's April 27th, 2024. We'll be hosting a take back here in Noblesville at the old Kahlo building on State Road 32, across from where Wendy's used to be. A new apartment complex is going up there now, but we'll be there from 9 to noon, taking any and all prescription medications to get those out of your home. So again, they don't end up in the wrong hands.
And nobody needs to check in with you, correct? This is anonymous. You don't care. Just let's get them off the streets.
It's completely anonymous. We don't take any notes or records or anything of that nature. We simply box up those medications and we take them down to an incinerator in Indianapolis and burn them up and dispose of them. So there's no need to take labels off. There's no reason to be concerned about any identity issues or anything of that nature. So yes, we just say bring them in. We'll take them off your hands and we'll dispose of them properly so that you do not have to worry about them.
Yes, and there's a
And Mark
website
will
up here.
even come to your door and pick them up, so you don't even have to get out of your car.
Yeah, you can pull up
He's pretty
curbside. We'll
special.
come right out to you and take them off your hands, and you don't even need to get out of your car. So as you're running your errands, swing in and see us, drop those off and get them out of your home.
Yeah, talk about just how successful this program has been because it's only been going for but a little over a decade, and the sheer amount of medication that has been turned in is really quite startling.
It really is, and we're glad that people are taking note of it and using this as a way to get rid of those drugs. Clearly from the numbers and the stats, you can see that over 4,675 collection sites were up and running nationwide in October of last year during that DEA Take Back Day. 23,974 pounds of unwanted and unused prescription medications were collected right here in Indiana. And in Hamilton County, we took in 73 pounds of unwanted and unused drugs during the October 2023 Take Back program. So again, people are taking notice. They're figuring out, that there's a proper way to do this. And we just would like to see more people take advantage of it and get those products out of their houses.
So you did mention the event there in Noblesville at the Riverview Health East parking lot. There are some things you cannot take. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we don't want anybody to be dropping off needles and sharps because of those could be dangerous to us, as well as liquids. We just want the dry medications. You can box them up, you can bring them in a bag, you can just bring them loose, and we'll box them up for you again. No questions asked, and we'll properly dispose of those. Some other locations, Westfield will be having a drug take back also on the 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Ella Community Pharmacy. which is on Jersey Street in downtown Westfield. Now, they will take vape pens, inhalers, and liquids and those types of things there. We could also suggest that you use the household hazardous waste for your sharps and for your vapes and liquids as another opportunity to properly dispose of those items.
Yeah, so I do believe when you go to dispose of sharps, you need to have them in a container. If anyone needs to pick up containers, of course, you can buy them online. I've seen them on Amazon. I believe I've seen them on Walmart online, but the Hamilton County Health Department also does provide those. And our Hamilton County Waste Center is phenomenal in dealing with these kinds of things. So there are options for sharps. But they have to be dropped off in the containers.
Yeah, again, and that's for everyone's protection and safety, so we don't have a secondary stick with a needle and transfer anything that way. And again, they need to be in a sharps container. And that location, Household Hazardous Waste, is located out near the Hamilton County Fairgrounds at 1717 Pleasant Street, near Pleasant and State Road 37. Their hours are Monday or Tuesday through Friday from 8 to 5. They're also open on Saturdays from 8 to 1 p.m. So feel free to swing out there and dispose of those sharps and other unwanted items, along with any other household products you're trying to get rid of, whether it's electronics, paints, those types of things they'll take as well.
If you maybe aren't close to Noblesville or are looking for another location to get rid of your needles safely, there is an organization called the Safe Needle Disposal. You can check it out online or give them a call at their 1-800 number. But they have information state by state. So if you're looking to find sharps containers, where you can dispose of your sharps, this is another great resource for that. So you guys talked about the take back events. Mark, I know that there are some police stations, and I know the sheriff's office for sure, but talk to us about other places where we might be able to get rid of those medications if we just can't come out on Saturday.
Yeah, if you can't make it out Saturday, there are several police stations throughout Hamilton County. That includes the Fishers Police Department in their lobby, the Westfield Police Department's lobby, and the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office lobby are open 24/7. There is a drop-off box there. Again, folks can just come in anytime, 24/7, and drop their medications into those boxes, and we'll take them from there and again, dispose of them properly. So it's completely anonymous. There's, again, no reason to have to be concerned about any identity issues. It's very convenient, and we would certainly encourage people to use those as well.
Monica, do you want to talk about some of the mail-back programs the pharmacies offer?
Yeah, some of the pharmacies do offer mail-back programs. I'm not as familiar with those, but if you would like more information, I would definitely talk to your pharmacy if you get mailed your pharmacy medications, or if you do want to look into that type of program. But we do have pharmacies here in town throughout the county. We've got Meijer, CVS on Lakeview Drive in Noblesville. There's a Walgreens in Carmel, Walmart, just like Tammy put up there. There's different locations. There is a website also, I think might be on the next slide. Yes. So if you visit the website here, you can type in your zip code and put how many miles you want to search, and then it'll give you the different locations that are close to you. So I think that's a really valuable resource.
And this is a very long email or website address. We will share this on the health department's website or social media tomorrow. We'll get a shorter version of this so you can find it easily and you can just click on it. I know this is should be a difficult one to just write down. So I do think it wasn't that difficult to find, Monica. I think maybe if you plug in DEA and maybe diversion, you may find it.
Or if If you love Google like I do, I just say, where can I take my prescription medications that I don't need anymore? And stuff like this just pops up. So
So we can't make it to the pharmacy, or we don't want to bring it comfortable bringing it to the police station. There are other ways to get rid of it safely at home. Can you walk us through this process?
sure.
It's not pleasant necessarily, but we don't want to make it easy for anybody who might be rifling through the trash, correct?
Right,
Right.
right. So yeah, there are different mixtures that you can do. Again, you can search online to see the different things, but cat litter, I've seen coffee grounds. There's just different things that you can mix it with to make the drug not potent anymore and make it safer for disposal.
Of course, then you're going to want to scratch out your name and date of birth and all that on
Yes.
your pharmacy bottles, because again, they'll be circulating through the trash and easily obtained by folks that could take advantage of you that way. So
Yeah.
again, not the most ideal way to go about it, but it is an option for folks if that's the last resort.
Yeah, and Mark, talk about that just a little bit, because every time I talk to you, I'm surprised. I guess I shouldn't be at this point, but the lengths that some people will go to in order to get their hands on these medications. I mean, some people might not even think pulling pills out of a dirty litter box would necessarily be a big deterrent. But you talk about even just having people who come to work in your home, or who are coming through for a showing of a house that may be for sale. There are real reasons to be thinking about removing these medications or locking them up at the very least.
Absolutely. Anytime you have somebody in your home you're not familiar with, strangers, who knows what their motivations might be. They may have addiction issues. They may need extra money, and so they might be searching for those medications in your bedroom, next to your nightstand, in your medicine cabinet, if they have that opportunity. Yes, if they're walking through the house, if it's a showing, if it's a construction crew. Sometimes it could just be an extended family member or neighbor. You just never know. And when people have addiction issues, the lengths that they'll go to try to deal with that crave and to satisfy that addiction are quite scary sometimes. So again, if you can avoid it, don't leave them out in plain sight. Keep them locked up and put away where those curious folks won't have an opportunity to find them and take advantage of you and of those medications.
And Mark and I have heard a lot of stories when we're collecting at the Take Back events. We've had very sad moments of a spouse that are bringing a lot of painkillers from their spouse having cancer or some terminal illness like that. People read obituaries in the paper and they see donations can be made to the American Cancer Society. So that is a bell that goes off in their head that there might be some medications in that person's home, which is sad, and they'll try and figure out where that person lives and all of that awful stuff. So it's just best to get it out of the house to keep you and everybody else safe.
Yeah, we don't think about it, but there's a lot of folks out there that are looking to take advantage of those opportunities. So again, we would encourage you to think about that and to do everything in your best interest to try to keep those opportunities at a minimum.
Yeah, and something that we actually came across not too long ago was a new repository law that was passed by the state Senate and House back in May of last year. It has not gone into effect yet. You can kind of see from this map that most states have enacted similar laws, but ours is just not fully operational yet. The funding is not there, but we did check with the State House today, and they informed us that this may be something that they're going to be able to start instituting here in the next 6 months. If you kind of want to walk us through what that will look like, this will certainly open up another option for folks who are looking to get rid of unused medications.
Yeah, the idea behind it is to not waste those medications that obviously still have value and cost a lot of money. And there are folks out there that can't afford them. So this is an opportunity, once the plan is fully implemented, for folks to turn in their unwanted and unused medications and those to be recycled. And people that are less fortunate or again not able to afford those medications will have an opportunity to receive them at a much reduced rate, which is kind of a win-win for everyone. So we're hopeful that that program will be up and running soon. It seems to be very successful in a lot of other states across the country, and we're certainly glad to see that Indiana's taken steps to move that forward.
So hopefully by October, when you guys get ready to do your drug take back again, maybe there'll be another option there for all of us. All right, we're going to open it up now for questions. Again, please feel free to write your questions in the comment and chat box. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Mark, Monica, Holly, if you can kind of keep an eye on that. We also wanted to make some other additional resources available to you, especially for anyone who has joined us and knows someone facing a mental and/or substance use disorder, or maybe in just watching this realize that maybe someone you do know or love needs some extra help. A great resource is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They are open 24/7, have a free and confidential line. And of course, you're always able to call or text 988 to get the help that you need as well. Are there any on here though, Monica, Mark, Holly, that you think are better resources than others for parents, especially who maybe just realizing that this may be an issue with a teen at home?
I wouldn't say there's any better ones than others. It's just kind of depends on how old the person is that needs the help. We have different helplines that you can call. You can text 988. That's kind of a good starting point of just explaining what your situation is, and then they can connect you with the other resources. Holly, do you want to speak about the services that you have and how you direct people if you can't serve someone that calls you?
Journey Counseling likes to be a resource in the community. So if you call in and you're worried about someone and we can't provide those services to you, then we have vetted and trusted options to give you based on insurance, Medicaid, those kinds of things, where you live in the county and stuff like that. So please feel free to call in and we'll try to get you connected to something that makes sense to your circumstance.
Yeah, and Monica, this is your job. You work to connect these communities together. There are a lot of options out there for folks who are in need of help.
Yes, and we have coalitions of a lot of different treatment agencies, prevention agencies. We have over 150 members of our coalition with the Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. We meet bi-monthly, so there's a lot of networking opportunities. And a lot of people that are on the committees or that attend the meetings, they all have personal lives too. We all go through things in our personal life that we don't always share with our professional life. So it's good that we have these meetings that people can get acquainted with the people that are in those professions, and so they feel comfortable approaching them if they do have a personal issue.
It's awesome. I am sharing the contact information for Monica, Mark, and Holly. I know they're all available and happy to field any questions anybody might want to take offline after tonight's webinar. Are you guys seeing anything in the chat box yet?
No.
Okay. Well, as we promised, here's a look at the slate of upcoming webinars that the health department plans to host for the rest of this year. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so it's a natural extension, obviously, of the conversation that we're having tonight. But we'll be talking about the mental health of our kids and teens and young adults and ways in which you can best support them as caregivers. If you're interested in any of these webinars, the best way to register for them is to log on to the Hamilton County Health Department's website, click on the Health Education tab, and then there will be a children's webinar button. You can pick whichever of these you would like to participate in, and then register, and we'll send you the link to the actual event. And just a final reminder that we will be hosting our Drug Take Back event this Saturday in the east parking lot of Riverview Hospital, across from Federal Hill Commons. We are asking you to bring any and all of your expired or unused prescriptions, anything over the counter medications, but please no sharps or needles. Those can go to household hazardous waste. And then Westfield PD is also hosting its own drug take back for the first time, I believe, at Ella Community Pharmacy from 10 to 2 on Saturday. If there are no more questions, we just want to
We
thank
did
you all.
have a comment, Tammy.
We
I'm sorry.
do?
Just
Okay,
recently.
please. Okay.
Jenny said, thanks for your time. She missed the beginning. Will there be a link to view this again?
Jenny, it's like you read my mind. Yes, I was just getting ready to say that we did record this, and we will share it to the Hamilton County Health Department's social media sites first thing in the morning. And obviously, if anyone there has friends or family that didn't get the chance and think they might benefit from seeing this presentation, that's a great way to find it as well. Anything else?
I don't think so. Thank you, Tammy, for all your
Oh
hard
my
work in
gosh.
putting this
Thank you,
presentation
guys.
together. And
Yeah, you
really
did great.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Tammy.
Amazing.
Thank you,
Well,
team.
we love you guys and the work that you're doing. And if you have any questions,